Hi, welcome back to my channel, Heather Abroad. As you can see, we've moved to England. If you're one of my Norwegian followers, feel free to follow along and be sure to ask any questions, as you may have curiosities about what it's like to move to different countries. If you're one of my otherworldly followers, then just keep watching and we'll see what it brings us. We opted to move to a commuter city called Windsor, which is outside of London. I kind of wanted to avoid the hustle and bustle of the city and avoid the underground as a part of the major transportation for getting the kids to school. I did like the slower lifestyle and kind of safer feel of being in Norway, and so I liked the idea of going to a commuter town where things are a little bit slower pace, albeit still a little bit busier than Stavanger. So in Windsor, we get a little bit of that, but it's similar to Stavanger in the sense that it still has this touristy aspect to it. Because it's the royal borough, you still get lots of tourists coming in for their tours, essentially, and to check out the town, just as you did in Stavanger in the summertime. So similarities in that sense, but let's see how the move actually went, and we can get into some of the other things in later videos. For this move, this was the second most stressful part, with school being the first most stressful part of the move. As you can see, most of the move is taken care of from the moving company, which is super helpful. And I will say this view is probably one of the things I'll miss the most after leaving Norway. One more night out for dinner in Stavanger as we say goodbye. And of course, I can't leave without one more brown cheese and jam. Now it's off to the airport. I will say these boys have become amazing travelers and huge help when it comes to moving all these bags. The good thing about this move is we weren't moving into winter, we were moving during the summer, so we did have less bulky items to pack. It still didn't change the fact that we ended up with at least 10 suitcases. But thanks to their help, we made it without any hiccups. For this move, we were told it would take about 6 weeks for our items to get to London. This gave us plenty of time to sort out the schooling and housing situation. But before that, we had to sort out the car situation. In the UK, you drive on the opposite side of the road. With our Norwegian driver's license, we can do this for 4 years before having to turn it in. Had we come with a US driver's license, that would have to be done within 12 months. This was definitely a mind-boggling experience, and we had to keep our brains turned on for sure. We did lots of practice without the kids in the car, but once they joined, they too were mind-boggled, and they got a kick out of it. For schooling in the UK, summer is mid-July to September 1st. So we had a little extra summertime on our hands, which helped us sort out school. But in order to apply to schools, you must first have a lease or own a home in order to fill out your applications. This was definitely a stressful situation because you won't know if you get accepted to a school since we're late applicants. This did get sorted out in the end, but this really could use a master class or some sort of extra training to understand this whole system. That will be for another video. Now it's time for Mom to get to work. This is probably the thing that I hate the most, even though it's not as stressful. But just trying to get everything undone as quickly as possible is always my goal so we can feel settled into our new location as quickly as possible. I use hooks that are already on the walls to make things feel like home quite quickly. That sure does help with the stress of it all. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. If you have any suggestions of places that we should see as a family or things we should do while living in England or maybe even any parts of the UK, please be sure to suggest them and we can see what we can get into. Until next time, see you later.